So I'm going to play this clip entirely. You're going to hear it, and I would tell you what they say, okay? Obviously, shout out to James, as always. We love him for posting this clip on Twitter. But let's go ahead and listen up, and I'll tell you exactly what they're laughing about.
No.
So, what are they laughing about? Why is Jake Browning smiling? Why is Joe Flacco smiling? Well, Joe Flacco asked Jake Browning, do you have a forearm in you? Because Joe got hit so much tonight, or so much today, that it's like, yo, do you have a forearm in you? Because I feel like I'm still getting hit every single second. So that's why he asked, do you have a forearm in you? Because, like, he got hit so hard, someone's forearm could get lodged in his body because of how many times he got hit. Jake Browning says, no, laughing, right? Now, if you watch this, as we play this clip here, let's go ahead and just let it play. You can see Jake is still smiling the whole entire time he's walking to the tunnel. I was walking to the locker room. And there's a reason why. I think, one, Jake is very happy he no longer has to play behind the offensive line where he's going to get smashed every single play and have to deal with being smashed every single play. Number two, he knows he's going to get a contract extension. He's going to be a Bengal for the next 4 or 5 years because if Zack Taylor does not get fired after this game, which he so far hasn't, we'll find out tomorrow, right? Monday is usually the firing day for coaches. Then they're going to keep Jake Browning. And Jake knows, look, it's not just me. It's clearly the defense. He has his other scapegoat, which is now the defense sucks, which it does. It actually really does. But if you watch Jake Browning, he sucks too. Like, he's also a really, really bad quarterback. Guy can't hit a broadside of a barn. Guys throw stupid interceptions. Like, because of that, though, Jake knows, hey, I'm going to keep my job. They're probably going to give me an extension, and I'm going to be a Bengals quarterback for the foreseeable future. And the whole time, Jake is going to use this now as a way to say, see, it wasn't just me. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the defensive fault. It was the offensive line fault. So that's exactly what this is. The offense struggled in the second half. Jake now is walking away like, hey, it's not just me. It's the rest of the team. And he's using this as a moral victory in his head. In his head, he's thinking, let's go. Let's go. This is not on me. And again, he'll get an extension because Zack Taylor won't be fired. And if Zack Taylor won't be fired, that shows how dysfunctional the front office is. And it shows how Jake Browning will continue to be employed with this team for the foreseeable future. So that's exactly why I believe Jake Browning was smiling after losing that game. He didn't have to take a hit. He knows how Joe Flacco feels taking those nasty hits and massive hits. And also, he knows now he's going to use this as cannon fodder of why he's not at fault. Instead of being like, this sucks, we lost, this game sucks, he's now going to turn this into, oh, well, see, it's not my fault. Not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. It was everyone else's fault. It was the defensive fault. It was the offensive line fault, which, again, I have to keep emphasizing. It is their fault, too, but it's also Jake. And if you watch my video about Jake Browning when he did go ahead and get benched, he was not the guy who wanted to take the blame. He wanted to point the fingers at every single other person on the team. Zack Taylor's to blame. Defense is to blame. The offense is to blame. The offensive line is to blame. Which, again, still have a lot of blame there. But it was also Jake Browning. We saw Joe Flacco take the same offense and be very successful. Today, the same offense that Jake Browning had, Joe Flacco put up 38 points with. Last week, he put up 33 points with the same offense that Jake Browning had with 0 turnovers in both games, where Jake was throwing like 8 interceptions. But again, this is why, I'm really starting to dislike Jake because this is kind of how Jake is now. It's less of, it sucks we lost and it's a team loss. It's now a personal victory for him and his ego. And that's what sucks. And, Zach is obviously probably going to go, he's probably going to talk to Zach and be like, hey, Zach, see, look, it's not me. It's not my fault. Even though he's the one who threw the 8 interceptions, but it's not his fault. It's someone else's fault. That's the whole thing. So, again, like I said, it's frustrating, but it's not surprising when it comes to Jake at this point. I don't know, man. It is what it is. But knowing how this is going to work, I'm expecting tomorrow to get the news that Jake Browning has gotten a 2-year contract extension. Even though we don't do contracts during the year, we just don't. I could definitely see them going ahead and doing so. And number 2, I can't wait to see that Zac Taylor is going to get an extension with this team for the next, 10 years. So, going to give him, 10-year contract. Because that's how dysfunctional front office is. That's how dysfunctional this team is. And you can see at the end, Jake, the joke's over. The joke's over right here, by the way. Look at Jake. He is still smiling ear to ear. Joe Flacco's like, oh, man, that sucks. This would suck. That's awful. He's a guy who's actually a leader, okay? Leader 1, not a leader. Leader here, not a leader. This almost could be you could actually turn this into an actual what's those inspirational quotes, right? Inspirational things. When your team loses, but now you get to blame it on somebody else. Guy on the left. Your team loses, and now you're like, hey, I'm upset. We got to get back to work. We got to figure things out. Guy on the right. That's the difference. That's the difference between the two. So, it is what it is, man. Zac Taylor made a video about him earlier, and his press conference was awful. I honestly, at this point, I want to see Duke Tobin speak. I want Duke Tobin to speak. I know he'll never speak. He'll always hide in the closet or sit in the cuck chair and watch Zac Taylor ruin this team even more. But I would love to see him speak as well. That would be a beautiful sight. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a real GM.